Hold up, guys. I gotta eat this tricks. I got some tricks. Yeah, I was feeling dizzy. I don't know why. I think it's fine. Jeez, though, like maybe it's too much focusing. Too much natural, casual, hardcore focusing. Like Crystal's doing it too. Crystal and Zelda, they both focus on an extreme level, and they do it casually. They do it naturally. How? Nobody else can do this. And the people in the chat, it's got to go out and do a run and try to focus. Try to really, really, really try your hardest to focus and concentrate. And you'll fail, and then you'll be like, "What the hell's going on here?" But yet, Zelda and Crystal are doing it completely naturally, no issue. But yeah, maybe I'm learning how to also, and then I'm just doing it naturally. So much my body's not used to this level of ultra concentration. Maybe that's what's happening, guys. Why'd you quit? She just stopped playing. Probably real life issues. Realistically, probably real life issues. Plus, like she just played a lot. The thing is, though, I'm actually better at this game than Zelda, but he's a lot better at speedrunning. Like he's far better at speedrunning, and I save a lot of time in like mechanical movement, mechanical ability, random metagame stuff because I've put so much like research time into this game that he hasn't really done, and so I do save a lot of time in that aspect, and I don't really want to be his time based on that, and especially lately, like again the Ganon tower lag, stair dashing, the Zora or the Quake rock, little random stuff, mechanical stuff that's guaranteed. Anyone can do it, but he came after his PB. So there's a lot of little stuff like that. But as I watched both of our runs side by side, and his movement was my movement because my movement like completely upgraded, and I think movement goes way deeper than people realize because if you don't make any errors, but your movement's not like theoretically optimal, it's faster than anything else, right? It's still faster than an opponent, even though it's not theoretically optimal. And so maybe per room they're faster, but overall you're faster, right? And so I think you have to reevaluate like what is optimal. But the thing is, and I think Zelda has that edge over me for sure. I watched our PB side by side, and it's like, where am I saving time? I save time on Thieves Overworld. I save time on actually I think I save time in the Thieves Dungeon. I save time in Agate Tower. I save a lot of time in random little areas like this, and I wasn't too. My movement wasn't even too much better, and not even movement, right? Because his movement's better. I wasn't really like blowing him out, which I was really happy about actually, and also shows you like how good, how aggressive and deep it is too, because he was on a really good pace, so he had to sacrifice a lot of specific things. Also, so like I actually was really happy that like it's a little bit more balanced, and I think that's just how this game is. Like, you can't really like to get a better time than a 23:19 would require some ridiculous ability to play the game. Like that's not a joke. That's not like there's no meta that can advance so far that it would eliminate that. And I think technically there's a lot of lag reduction in this game that's nobody's found, but ultimately it's not true. Which is I'm really happy with. And it's just a testament to how good that run is. But also yeah, I was making a lot of mistakes. He was making far less mistakes. I think it's obvious, but the thing is in the past 3 days, I've actually, guys, fuck, I'll just highlight this. In the past 3 days, I've significantly stepped up my ability to focus, my ability to concentrate, and not losing time in movement. Because in the past, and a lot of noobs do this, is they need to play flawlessly. Because you have to, pretty much. At a top level, you have to play flawlessly. But you can't sacrifice speed, movement, optimal gameplay, right? You can't make bad decisions. You have to make the right decision always playing optimally, and then never make a mistake. It's like, how do you do that? And I've definitely stepped that up in the past 3 days, and a lot of these dungeons I'm doing and these dungeon segments I'm doing. And the thing is, actually, one thing I noticed Zelda was saving time on me pretty much across the board was in menus. And it's because his ability to focus is so much better than mine. And so he goes into a screen, he locks down the menu, and then he finishes the menu, and then he locks down everything else. And this is because I realized, like, and actually, I'll just spill all my beans here. I call this liquid gameplay, where liquid gameplay, basically, you can only do what you can do, right? And so that's the whole point. Is what you want to do is what you can do, right? So if you don't feel confident in something, don't do it. If you do feel confident in something, that's what you do. That's exactly what you do. So that's good, but the thing is, it goes deeper, and this is why my ability to focus is upgraded so drastically. It's because what happens is there's a lot of things where you have to do them, right? You can't play slow. Like half the screens in Link to the Past, I'm not confident I can do. So, but you can't play slow. Like Ice Palace Bomb Jump is a really good example. Early Hera Bomb Jump's another really good example. Landmo, Helma, most rooms in Ganos Tower, a lot of the rooms in T-Rock, Mire, and if you make one error in any of these screens, your run ends pretty much. So how do you do that? But then I realized, because I'm not confident I can do half the rooms in Ganos Tower. Do I just not do them? I realized if you break the screens down, if you break the segments down, you can do the segments. You can do the sections of the tricks of the screens, and then you just add it up. And I think that's really interesting because pretty much I don't have a strat I can't do. Why would I pick a strat I can't do, right? I can do every strat mostly or almost 100% consistently. It's the thing is, when anxiety gets in the way, that's when it goes out the window. That's when it goes to hell. And that's what I realized. That's what I realized is like really important, because hold up, what is this going here? Really important because what you can do is constantly changing. It's constantly changing. It's constantly in flux. And so what happens is you go into a screen and your cat walks in the door. That happened to me once. Your cat walks in, right? So now you're distracted about your cat. So how you're going to play the game is very different than ever before. And what you can do changes also, because suddenly you can't do whatever is completely neutral when you're completely neutral. But let's say you're minus 20 on a run, your cat walks in, and then someone in your chat says don't choke, Now you're thinking, oh god, I'm going to choke, I'm distracted, and I'm on a really good run, and so I can't do anything too risky, right? So what you can do now becomes drastically limited. And this is what I'm saying. This is what liquid gameplay really is. What you can do is sort of change, because the thing is, again, you can still break down the components, and you can still do it by component. And that's really interesting too, because before, if I tried doing that, I couldn't do it even by component, because before what was happening is there was a hard trick or hard strat like cold stare poke dash, for example, which Zelda does pretty much every run, and I can't do it at all, because before I would break it into components, but the anxiety's there, and what my gameplay was binded by was it was all based on outputs. If what you can do is what if you only doing what you can do, that's all input. This is why it's golden. So then you go into cold stare, you go to poke dash. This is why his menus are so much better, and this is why my menus actually have completely upgraded today. I mean, one day, it's not even, I'm expecting myself to do at least 100 runs to get better at this. I'm seeing huge results after one day. So I'm thinking you could do all the components, and before I was breaking down sections, but I wasn't breaking them down into, like, let's say there's 4 components. Each component I wasn't doing exactly what I can do. I was just trying to do each component as fast as possible. And so I would come into one component and I would mess it up, right? And so now not only am I dealing with all this anxiety, after I mess it up, there's even more anxiety. So it's like the whole thing would just fall apart. But now it's like when I break it down into 4 components, I go into the first component and I'm like, okay, it's just press left, 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 right, for the menu, and then it's press pause, and then it's, or well, actually, let's go deeper. It's you have to press left out of the door, and then when you move a pixel, then you press pause and make sure. And see, here's one thing where I'm not sure if I can do it or not. If you press left out of the doorway too early, the menu doesn't come up, or you pause in neutral screen. If you do it too late, you go too far left, right, and you lose a bunch of time. So you have to do it on 1 or 2 pixels, right? So I need to find exactly so what can I do here, right? So if I don't force myself to do it too early, right, and then focus and try not to do it late, so I can do that one component, right? And so then when the pause menu hits, I need to press left, 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 and I can't do it too early or too late, and I can't stagger my movements, because if you stagger your movements, you lose like 0.3 seconds. Now that adds up. I'm losing 5 to 10 seconds in menus every run, and then after the menu, you gotta let go of the menu and then do another tight input, right? And so there ends up being like 3 or 4 components. And again, before I was just trying to do everything as fast as possible, or I would just break it down, but it wasn't really. And the other thing is, it wasn't a natural process at all before too. And so even if I could break it down, why am I breaking it down? And then there's no reason. And then a month later, I just forget, right? So, but now this is a completely natural process. It actually is the only thing that makes sense to me. And so I'll go into a screen and I'll break it down into 4 components, so I can do each component. And then once it all adds up, you end up doing these segments and these important. It's necessary, right? It's different, and it's interesting because I learned in Melee. I learned this originally in Melee, but in Melee, if you can't do something, if you're not confident you can do something, you just don't do it. You're not punished at all. But in speedrunning, it's not the case at all. You're fucked. So that's pretty interesting. I think also what's interesting about that is it doesn't reduce the anxiety at all, but it's an answer to the anxiety, right? Which I think is really interesting. So that's definitely helped out. I don't want to say it's helped out. The thing is, it's the only thing that makes sense to me. I can't. There's no option here. It's not like I can. Why not break it down into components where you can do something? It just make it like there's no other alternative. I made so much effort making my gameplay into what's optimal is natural, right? For me, what's optimal is natural. It doesn't matter how fast it is. If you can do it and you're confident you can do it, then you optimize it, right? Then you make it faster. If you can't do something, or if you're not 100% confident you can do something, it's not optimal. And in fact, what if you're not 100% confident you can do it under 100% of circumstances? If you're not 100% confident under 100% of circumstances, that's not natural. So I throw that out the window. But let's say there's something simple like, holding diagonals, for example. Holding left and then hitting the diagonal. That's pretty simple. Instead of trying to hit a 1-frame diagonal, you buffer the diagonal. This is a natural process. You can do this under any circumstance. You can do this, and not just can do it, but you will consistently do it recreatably under any circumstance easily. So it's like that's completely natural. So then you find the fastest way to do that. That's what real good movement is. That's what God movement in speedrunning is. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know what liquid gameplay is, why it's so necessary, important, and revolutionizing. I mean, this is revolutionizing, at least for me. I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but